right, let's get the jitters out. Get the jitters out. How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? Whoa. Whoo! 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 What's up, y'all? It's your boy Agnell, encouraging you, yes, you right there who's watching, to try new things. Today I'm gonna give you guys 8 tips. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 8 tips on how to get out of debt efficiently. So just a disclaimer before we start the video, just know that I am not a financial guru. I'm just giving you guys information on a few finance books that I've read, and I've actually taken action on what these finance books taught me. And those books specifically are Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki and The Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey. More so Dave Ramsey's book. All right, let's get right into it. So the first tip to get out of debt efficiently is to stop getting into debt. I know it's kind of obvious and it's a no-brainer, but it's like so important. Once you finally decide that you're sick and tired of being sick and tired of giving your hard-earned money to all of these companies, instead of keeping it in your own pocket, don't add more debt to your plate. So stop using your credit cards and make sure you're using debit and cash. Stop getting new cars and stop trading your old car for a new car. Buy a used car to get you from point A to point B. And for students, stop taking out student loans, start going to community colleges, and apply for scholarships. There's a lot of free money out there for you to get. The second tip, and this is probably the most important tip that I can tell you about, it's budgeting. Budgeting is literally the best way for you to control your money. If you don't budget, then there's probably a very good chance that your money's gonna control you. So what I usually do with budgeting is I write my budget out on a piece of paper. So every time that I get a paycheck, I subtract all the bills that I have to pay for from my check up until the next paycheck. I always make sure my food, utilities, transportation, and housing are taken care of before anything else. And when I say anything else, I mean gym, Netflix subscription, student loans, or a car note, or anything else like that. One thing I like about budgeting is that it shows me how my debts are affecting my paychecks. I can literally visualize how much more money I'll have in my pocket if I didn't have a student loan or a car loan payment. And that right there is something that'll keep me on track towards getting out of debt efficiently. You can also see how much money you're wasting on miscellaneous stuff and like pointless subscriptions that you never use. Once you do your first budget and find those useless things that you're paying for, you can cut them out of your budget and give yourself a little mini payday. But guys, it takes time to get your budget very accurate. It took me like a couple months to get it completely accurate. But just keep adjusting your budget as you go and you'll get it right eventually. I promise you. Number 3 is the debt snowball. And I have to give kudos to Dave Ramsey on this one because this one is very powerful too. So let me show you guys how the debt snowball works. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take all your debts and list them from smallest to largest, regardless of the interest rates. Then you're gonna pay minimum payments on all of your debts except for the smallest one. You're gonna attack the smallest debt with a vengeance and scrape up every dollar you can and throw it at that small debt until it's completely paid off. The reason why I say regardless of interest rates is because you have to let your brain know that you're capable of getting rid of debt. Once you pay off that small debt, your brain is gonna be like, and then you're gonna get a motivational boost to do the same exact thing with the next debt. So continuing with the debt snowball, once you pay off that first small debt, you're gonna take that minimum payment and add it to the minimum payment of the next debt. The minimum payments will get bigger and bigger, hence the name, the debt snowball. Then you repeat the same thing with the next debt, and 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 the next debt, until you're debt free! This is probably the hardest tip to execute because you have to work like a freaking maniac and put all the extra money that you can get from working super hard towards your debt, just so you can get out of debt a lot more faster and efficiently. Which brings me to my next tip, tip number 4, which is side hustles. Guys, there's so many ways to make some extra money aside from your main job. It's crazy. I used to always ask myself, how can I make extra money? I've been doing Uber and Lyft since 2017, and I've made up to an extra $12,000 a year. And guess what? All of that $12,000 goes towards my debt. But here's a list of things that I've done in the past, I'm currently doing, and what I've heard other people are doing to make extra money aside from their main source of income. Tip number 5 is having an emergency fund. You have to have money to fall back on if there is an emergency that happens out of the blue, especially when you're trying to get out of debt. It's so easy to lose motivation and lose your drive when you're trying to get out of debt when something bad and out of the blue happens. I've caught so many flat tires in the past. It's freaking annoying and ridiculous, but thank God for my emergency fund. Once an emergency happens, I stop my getting out of debt process. I handle the emergency with my emergency fund money, then I replenish the emergency fund, and then continue with my getting out of debt process. The tricky part about an emergency fund is figuring out what unexpected events are considered an emergency. The best way to figure that out is to ask yourself these 3 questions. Is it unexpected? Is it necessary? And is it urgent? If you say yes to all of those 3 questions, then dig into that emergency fund and use it. Now, Dave Ramsey recommends people to start off with a starter emergency fund of $1,000 just to hold them as they're getting out of debt. Once you're completely out of debt, he recommends boosting up their emergency fund to 3 to 6 months of expenses, meaning adding up how much all of your bills and expenses are for a month and multiplying that number by 3, 4, 5, or 6. But I've heard a lot of people have a lot more of money in their emergency funds for very valid reasons. You can literally do what you want, but if you want to follow what Dave says, you can follow what Dave says, which is what I'm doing. Tip number 6 is having an accountability partner. Having someone that's on the same debt-free journey as you definitely keeps you focused on your debt-free goals. Also, having people that can offer you financial advice for situations you may stumble upon as you're getting out of debt is definitely beneficial. Shout out to my cousins Tanya and Joe, and shout out to a few of my co-workers. I definitely consider you guys accountability partners. Getting out of debt is doable if you're riding solo, for sure. But having an accountability partner like a spouse or a brother or sister or a coworker or a friend is definitely way more beneficial, in my opinion. There's also social media groups that you can join, and people will definitely give you feedback on whatever you may need advice on. Tip number 7 is changing your mindset. Guys, getting out of debt is a lot more psychological than you think. You can budget all day long and write out your budget 50 million times until it's super accurate, but actually sticking to the budget is the hard part. And that's what's gonna separate the winners from the losers. Self-discipline, consistency, and focus are definitely very, very important when you're trying to get out of debt. People will always try and get you to do other things while you're trying to get out of debt, like go on a vacation or like go out to eat or something like that, which inevitably leads to you spending money on stuff that you can do at any time, as opposed to spending that money and getting out of debt, which means slowing down your debt-free process. Even your own mind and thoughts will give you reasons to go spend money on other things. You have to learn to be mentally strong enough to fight those urges and say no to others and even to yourself. Changing your mindset by being consistent, self-disciplined, and focused definitely helps with fighting those urges. Now you might ask, how does one become more consistent, more self-disciplined, and more focused? And I personally think that having a strong enough reason to be those things will help you become those things. Which brings me to my last tip, tip number 8, find your why. Finding a strong enough reason to achieve something will definitely give you that push that you need to do whatever it takes to achieve that thing. Why do I want to get out of debt so bad? Because I want to have my money make money for me so that I can be out enjoying life like we're all supposed to be doing. I want to be able to spend time with my loved ones a lot more often. I want to be able to try new things whenever I want to. I want to be able to wake up and go to Puerto Rico for a week because I'll have the time and the money to do so. I want to build wealth so I can do all of these things. And having my money go towards a student loan payment or a car payment is definitely not helping my dreams and my wants and my aspirations come true. So that's why I go so hard for getting out of debt. But finding your why doesn't only apply to financial goals. It applies to any kind of goals that you set. If your why is strong enough and you want whatever you want bad enough, you're gonna go out and execute and do whatever you have to do to get to what you want. So I encourage you guys to find a strong why. Why? And go out and execute and achieve all the goals that you want to achieve. And here's a bonus tip for you guys. Live on less than what you make. If you make $2,000 a month, right? Don't go out and get a 1-bedroom apartment for $1,200 and drive a $20,000 car with a $400 a month payment. It's gonna be much more difficult for you to get out of debt if all of your money is going towards impressing people you don't care about. And I'm sure those people don't care about you either. So go live with 3 roommates and pay $400 for rent. Go get you a cheap hoopty that'll get you from point A to point B. This is all gonna be temporary. The less money you spend on flashy things and cool things or whatever, the more money you'll have to pay off all of your debt. I know I may have made this video seem like getting out of debt is black and white, and it's not. But if you do have any gray area questions or any kind of questions at all, please drop them in the comments and I'll be more than happy to do my best and answer those questions for you. If you enjoyed and or learned something from this video, please hit that like button and hit that subscribe button as well. I appreciate all of the support. And that's it for today, guys. I hope you guys use these tips to get out of debt and put a lot more money into your pockets. It's your boy Agnell encouraging you to try new things. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out.